If you're ever making a podcast, you should find a beat that just makes you want to bounce a little bit.
Head bob every time.
Head bob. Do that.
Did you ever get into like one of those?
I watched
Like
Hitch. And that is why you're here. Megan Carman. Dude, you've got me pegged. You do. I'm kind of freaked out to have you here because you've got me pegged. Audrey High Note kind of has me pegged. You've got me pegged. He's Isaac.
He's Philip.
This is Megan.
This is Megan.
Episode 11. Lyndsey, say what up.
What up?
She's here. Let's do this.
He's here, unfiltered, bringing you tips and tactics to meet life's demands. Megan's got tips and tactics.
Maybe. Hopefully.
All right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to explain what this is right here, and we need to just talk about
Oh, gosh.
water for a second.
Tip
Right.
number 1, get a giant pink jug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The half gallon.
Yeah. Instagram ad, $10. And my thought was, I'm tired of walking up to the front of the school to fill up my water 5 times a day because the schools have turned their drinking fountains off. So I said, let's get a half gallon jug, keep it at my desk, fill it up at home. And I got that when I was pregnant, so I was really trying to drink a lot of water. Here we are, still use it.
Boom.
It's great.
How many of those do you drink in a day?
Right now, well, today's awful, but it's been 3 since I've had it.
Wow.
Elena. Yeah, it's been 3. I drink one all through the night. Like I drink one in
Really?
the night. Yes.
My wife says the same thing. That like breastfeeding, just
Yep.
like takes it out of you, just pulls it out
Wow,
of
and that's why I won't sauna.
Right.
I need to drink
Too
water.
dehydrated.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I'd be scared what would happen.
you. Yeah.
'Cause I
It's a
still
bummer.
drink coffee and I still have some other form of caffeine.
Sure.
Right.
Got to choose your battles.
Yep.
Wild.
Fun.
Conserving resources. Look at that.
Yeah.
Already into
That's true. You're just
keeping your water.
hitting the topics there.
There we are.
Right on. That's good. So good. Because you're a teacher now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was for like 8 weeks before I had my kid, but yeah, I was. I am. I'm very excited about it.
Yes.
So I was doing math intervention, which helping those students who need assistance, or even doing some teaching in the classroom with the teachers while they were doing math, kindergarten through 8th grade, and I loved that. I still love it. You go from counting by tens with kindergartners and listening to these goofy flippin' songs on YouTube, and 10 minutes later you are finding angles of parallelograms. It's just, it's fun, So I loved it. It's good.
Keeps your mind fresh.
Yeah.
Keeps you engaged.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead of doing all, counting by tens all day,
Oh my gosh.
year after
Yeah.
year after year.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a recipe for partial insanity.
I commend kindergarten teachers,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Oh, yeah.
kindergarten teachers are life kindergarten teachers. And
Lifers.
so I'm like, you guys love 5-year-olds who cry over toys and still don't know how to tie their shoes. I couldn't do it every year.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it is. Very.
Have you always really liked math? Is that like your favorite subject all the time? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always been the one I've like scored highest on any kind of testing too. But I look back and like, I can't do trig. I don't remember certain formulas for calculus. I couldn't do it now, but I do like that's the comfort levels, kindergarten through 8. So I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. I can do this.
I know this stuff.
I
Just
can-
rattle it
yeah.
off.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean you don't know what a complementary angle is? What?
Yeah, what?
What?
Who doesn't know that?
What? Yeah.
Lyndsey doesn't.
It's been a while.
It's
I mean,
okay.
like if one angle is 100 degrees, then the other one is 80, a complementary angle.
That's supplementary.
That's
Those will
supplementary?
each equal, 180 is supplementary.
So complementary, is that 360 then? No.
Complementary is 90.
90.
Yeah. It's okay.
We learned something.
There.
Boom.
Yeah. It's good.
Oh, lesson 1.
Yep.
Cool.
You
Yep.
jogged something from Mr. Vanderwilt, geometry, ninth grade.
right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
where that came
That's
from.
fun.
Yep.
Good deal.
You jogged it in there.
Yep. And then I also do the yearbook, and I'm still doing the yearbook.
Oh, really?
So I'd have the last hour of the day, I'd have freshmen come back from Jefferson. So I was a teacher at Peyton Sheridan. Sheridan's 15 minutes north of Jefferson. And yeah, we would work on the yearbook. And these are like sassy freshmen who call me bruh half the time. And I'm like, no.
No.
No, I am Mrs. Carman. And then they know my name is Megan. So then they'll go, Megan, like Megan the Stallion. I'm like, no, don't
do that.
no, nope, Mrs. Carman.
Is that the face you make when you're like,
Oh yeah, but we have masks
like
on
with a
and-
smile,
Right. So
but
they just get Megan's eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh man, it's funny though. I miss them. I Zoomed with them. Like we had a Zoom meeting, and they're like, "Let's see your kid. What are you doing? What's your kitchen look like?"
Yeah,
like,
bruh.
Let's do. Yeah, bruh. Stop calling me bruh. Get off your phone.
So funny.
It is funny.
Yeah,
It's good.
that's good.
It is good.
So you got them to call you Mrs. Carman then?
After getting called bruh so many times, I almost just like ignore them. I don't even address it anymore. And then kids know what like makes you angry, and they'll
Sure.
try to push those buttons, especially when you're a teacher and a new teacher. So you just kind of, and then they stop. You address it, and
So
then they're going to keep doing it.
they're
And then,
bored with it now.
Yeah, they're bored. Like, oh, she doesn't react to us anymore. So let's stop.
don't let them bully you.
No, oh my God, bully. Oh my gosh. But these are the same kids that go home and call their parents bruh. So it's
Right.
like,
Sure.
bruh.
It's just the way of life,
Yeah.
just culture.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
the new dude.
It's the TikTok thing. I don't know. I don't have TikTok.
Same.
Either.
Same.
Oh, really?
We're out of the.
Awesome.
We're out
No,
of it.
TikTokers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
Like we're behind on the times.
It's good. You asked me what was in my jug. What are you guys drinking?
Thank you for this. Thank you for what you're doing.
I've got water, and I've got a bubbler, which is a sparkling caffeinated, with the equivalent of 1 cup of coffee, sparkling.
Yep.
This is a pomegranate drink right here.
That's good.
Yeah.
I have coffee and some sugar water, orange sugar water
Yep.
with electrolytes.
I had to get you on that.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Okay. Get it done
just-
and over with.
Anything you'd like to say about that, Doctor?
Yeah. Where do we want to start here? Okay. So my first statement is, that's not good for you, right? Like I don't have to tell you or explain that sugar water and the Gatorades and the Powerades and all the aids are not healthy.
Also, now it's not just the Eatos; it's the AIDS as well.
Eatos and the aids.
Okay,
Doritos,
that-
Cheetos, Fritos. Don't do that. And now
Uh-uh.
the aids. That's good. I haven't ever done that before.
I like
Except-
it.
Yeah, okay. The Eatos and the
I won't pick on
doesn't
you, Isaac.
answer.
I just had to.
no, that's okay.
Oh, we're
I
gonna
can
pick
take
on
it.
him.
Just had to point it out.
I just won't.
You're running
I'm
after
just not
this.
going to react. I'm
You're-
just not going to respond.
Right.
And then you'll get bored with it and not
There.
bust me on it
Exactly. And
anymore.
then we can talk about, if you choosing to be offended, we could go there too.
Oh man.
I'm
Being
not.
offended is a choice.
I'm really
man.
not
Ah,
offended by it.
There. See?
Thanks.
Don't be offended.
I'm not.
Just own
I'm
it.
good.
You're running later.
I am not running later.
You're defending him now. I wanted you to tear into
Oh
him.
gosh.
Come on, do it.
You already told him it was bad. He knows it's bad. It's bad.
But it's not.
Man.
But it's
My
not the
favorite thing
worst.
was earlier. So to preface, we already talked about this, but Isaac said, "Well, what if it was 0?" We're like, worse, worse. That's it. That's even worse.
Fake
But
sugar.
it's not.
But it's not.
But it is.
L-
0 is worse, but he's drinking.
No,
He's not drinking.
I'm saying this
0.
is not
Oh, but
zero.
that's
though.
not-
Yeah.
So
Right.
this is not
You-
the
you got
worst
it.
of the options. So really, I am being healthy, but not drinking Gatorade Zero.
False.
No, you are no.
It's not pop.
It might as well be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
sa-
with
it's
the
on the
amount-
same level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
With
Yeah.
the amount of sugar that's in it. Oh yes.
Well, and the fake coloring too.
True.
What's the worst color to drink?
Red and yellow.
This is orange, so that's
what-
both.
What is
What
orange?
makes orange?
That's what I'm saying. It's both.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Bad news bears,
Love
bro.
it.
Bad
Yeah.
news.
So like blue would be a better option then.
No.
No, still has red in it, but also it's fake coloring.
What?
They are labeled as a class of substances as an excitotoxin that
It's
acts
labeled as a toxin.
yes
Wow.
Well,
acts directly on your nervous system, including your brain.
What's it doing to my brain?
So a lot of kids with ADHD or I would say is falsely diagnosed is because a person's diet and what they're routinely putting into their body is creating this excitatory expression in their brain and their nervous system. And so they're reacting off the wall, even though it's a chemical induced state.
Fascinating. So like sugar, like
Yes.
the idea of sugar makes you hyper. Is it similar? Am I-
True.
okay.
True. But it's because of the effect on the brain that sugar has. Yeah.
But is it just the sugar or is it like the coloring too?
Coloring is like the fuel on the fire. It's like adding gasoline to the. I mean, sugar will get you a raging fire already, but then you add the colorings to it. It's like you're pouring gasoline directly on the fire. Yeah, that's what that is to me.
Wow.
Would you agree, Mrs. Carman?
I would, yeah. There are parents in the school systems that they know, well, we can talk about that too, that they're often, kids are rewarded
Sugar.
candy during the day. I can have a whole hour conversation about how this drives me nuts. But there are parents that ask, do not give my kid anything with red dye in it because they know that it affects their child. So,
Wow.
I mean,
Then they get a wild child when school turns them back over to home, and it's like, what did you do
And,
to
like,
my kid?
they see the difference in their
Wow.
child with red food coloring. Yep.
That's amazing.
I know. It's weird.
Another layer deeper here is like Ritalin and Adderall. They are actually, they're made to bring kids down off of this ADHD can't focus sort of a thing, except both of them are actually stimulants. And so they stimulate a part of the brain that is meant to inhibit another part of the brain that is overacting, basically. So sugar in the diet goes to that part that's overacting and then does more of that. So it's a fascinating complex, is that the ADHD complex is actually more of a chemical dysfunction in the brain where something is not firing. You're not getting the brakes to the gas pedal in the go button in the brain, basically, is one way to put it. So it's nasty stuff. Sugar, dyes, hops.
I'm not
AIDS.
denying that any of that does not taste good. Like, I love candy.
Right. Yeah.
I love
For sure.
all that stuff. But just being aware of
Right.
the sugar and the
Correct.
dye.
Which is why I love right now stevia and monk fruit. Both of those are proven to not raise blood sugar, which is another like diabetes, type 2 diabetes over time is your body's inability to handle blood sugar anymore. Yeah. So you don't want that.
Game changer.
Game changer. So you need to not spike your blood sugar over and over and over again, or else your body can't continue to do that for all of its years. It's wild.
Like you burn your system out.
You do.
Much.
You do.
Wow. Amazing.
Just the same thing here. Okay, I'm gonna get off my train here soon, but
I'm on it with you.
I can't wait for you to go on your health journey. We're gonna talk forever. It's gonna be such a long episode, but
Worth it though.
worth it. Yeah, I think thyroid conditions, too low thyroid issues, are too commonly diagnosed. But it's because the system has been so burdened and so stressed for so long that your adrenals, which is your first line of defense for stress, quits working to the same magnitude that it's been doing for years and years and years and years and years, because you've been stressed and stressed and stressed and going and going and going for so long that the thyroid has to take over because the adrenals are totally done. And so you'll go, because I'm so tired and my hair's falling out and my eyebrows even and my gut, I can't go to the bathroom anymore. And you'll go to the doctor and they'll do a panel and your TSH will be high, which means thyroid stimulating hormone, so that you make more T3 and T4, which is thyroid hormones, and that'll show up, but that's the compensation effect for the adrenals, which are no longer working, but are actually much harder to test.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid.
It's not
Yep.
the root.
It's not the root.
I mean, I was a sugar addict growing up. Oreos was my thing. Love candy. I had no anybody telling me I couldn't eat any of that stuff. My dad just did not care really. Swiss rolls, zebra cakes, all that processed crap. I ate it. And so sugar addict. And so I think that I just had a long process in my own body of just messing it up and really freaking out my adrenals and my blood sugar and having spikes. And then as a teenager, it affects your hormones. And in adulthood, then you think okay, well, I can cut out sugar and then I can add the zero, portion, side of products, or it's diet or whatever. And those are sugar alcohols. So those are even more toxic. And then you go on this, are we going to get on the white flour thing?
Man.
Yeah. So then white flour does essentially the same thing. So raises blood sugar, high glycemic. So it's all crazy.
It is all crazy.
Food's wild.
Food is wild.
Wow. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
So
we almost need a marker board.
sugars, dyes,
Seriously.
flours.
Flowers.
What else? Other big cautionary. High fructose corn syrup. That's sugar.
Good job. It basically is. Except it's a chemically
Although,
distorted with a little
yes.
twist, which makes it so that it can only be broken down in the liver. So it's directly a liver toxin versus sugar can be broken down in almost any cell, but not high fructose corn syrup, which is why it's
And
bad.
that's in a lot of stuff.
Well, and it doesn't process well in the liver, so it's stored. And
recirculates. It
Yes.
causes damage and
Yes.
damage and
Yep.
damage every time it circulates around your... Because it only gets so much time in the liver before it's in the bloodstream and it's got to move out again.
Yeah.
So,
correct. Yeah.
Vegetable oil.
Oh,
It's one of your danger.
yes. Hydrogenated vegetable oil is enemy number one, in my opinion. On the number one thing to move out of your diet is that. Which, Crisco. Regular peanut butter,
I mean,
first ingredient.
Yeah. I mean, it
Hydro-
changes your gut biome.
It does.
It's crazy.
It does. Yeah. Your second brain, your gut microbiome. Yeah. There's more nerves in your gut. Here we go. There's more nerves. 80% of the communication between your brain and your gut is from your gut to the brain, which is why they call it your second brain. Because what's in control of your body? Well, it'd be the brain. How does it do that? Via the nervous system. So you think everything is top-down communication, but from the gut to the brain, it's not. Gut has to tell the brain what's going on. You even have little neurons in your gut. They're called periscoping neurons because they stick through the gut into the tube that is your gut, which is not actually part of you because the tube is open on both ends.
Oh, that's crazy. Don't.
Right?
Blah. I don't
But it's
like thinking about it that way.
So what you put in
Maybe
the
it's
tube
there.
isn't actually a part of you until it gets absorbed into the body. So you have these
That's
little neurons, right,
crazy.
I like that.
that stick into that tube that's open to figure out what's going on, and then it sends a messenger back to the brain, and then the brain uses that information to decide what to do.
Is your brain just exploding right now, Isaac? Or are you laughing?
I'm actually to
a
be
long
honest,
process.
I'm imagining all of this in terms that make more sense to me. I'm imagining my body like a vehicle.
Yeah.
And all of these parts, I'm thinking about the adrenals, your vehicle going into limp mode. Now it's not working correctly. It's, limping. And if you do that long enough, you're going to break stuff because
There you
it's
go.
not functioning the way it's supposed to. It's half function and not running right. I don't know, things like that. I'm thinking about the nerves, sensors, or your gut, the sensor that tells you something's wrong, but then it goes to your car's computer and then that shows you on your dash. And I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
I love it. That's visual.
Great analogy.
Yeah.
Visual learning.
Yeah.
It's a stellar analogy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I like the way your brain works.
My gut must be working well.
Telling your brain what's up.
I guess so.
That's right.
And so I think it's also important too to acknowledge that that these things are bad, but there should be some freedom in how you eat too. I'm the first one to admit my mother-in-law makes bomb cherry pie. I had some last night. There's white flour and white sugar in that, and I had a piece of it.
You ate it.
And I had a piece of it. And so, but I think there has to be, the balance has to come with acknowledging the rest of my day needs to be pretty clean.
Yeah.
And having something like that is a treat. It's not an every night thing. Ice
Right.
cream shouldn't be an every night thing. Pizza shouldn't be an everyday thing. Casey's runs shouldn't be your lunch every day. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
and
couldn't
you
agree
feel
more.
better, you sleep better, everything works better.
So true.
Yeah.
That rings true. Yep.
Because what's your go-to? I'm not going to eat clean if I have a meal. What is it?
Pizza.
Yep.
With Bridget working in Ames, and we'll get an Old Chicago pizza. She'll get that right on her way out of town, and it's
Yeah.
still pretty warm by the time it gets here. Yeah,
Old Chicago is so good.
big fan.
Right.
Yeah,
Pizza.
or even breado. We did that 2 weeks ago. I came home, and a lot of times Bridget is already doing supper when I get home, and she wasn't that day. I was like, "Do you just want to get a pizza delivered?" And she was like, "Sure," surprised that I would ask for that. But
I've
yeah,
seen
we
you
did it.
have a little more freedom in eating, though,
Recently.
in the
Or-
last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first met you 4 years ago, you were you wouldn't have done that, I don't think. And I think you've allowed
strict.
yourself.
Yeah.
You've found a good balance.
Yeah.
And how you know that you can have that once in a while. It's not like a weekly
Right.
thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
What's your cheat meal or your thing? Is it pizza?
Pizza. We unite there.
Pizza is the bomb.
Yeah. I think you eat cleaner than I do, honestly. You eat well more often than I do at this point. From what I've seen anyway. It's not like we have every meal together.
Yeah.
But
yeah. You've had a lot of guidance. But yeah, definitely. I mean.
Well, because way back when, your first appointment at my office, you were one of the only people who has ever done a heart rate variability test, analyzing your stress pattern in your body, and have tested over 90 on your first visit before I've adjusted you. Like, that's happened 5 times ever.
Right.
And you were like the first one that did that. So you had made an impression on me very quick, because it's like, okay, this girl knows what she's doing, like on her health journey and how to take care of her body and how to handle stress. Yeah. And so, and then our friendship blossomed from there.
It did. Yep. 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
About 4 years ago.
Which is why, I mean, you should just tear into it a little bit. Like, what's your philosophy of health? Like, A, why do you take care of your body? And B, like, what's your staple 2, 3, 4 things that you do on a regular basis to make sure, like, you're there?
It's definitely been a process. Like, being in Jefferson it's really funny, because I lived in Iowa City and went to school there, and they have like tons of like co-ops and like organic things and farmers markets, and I never really dabbled into all of that, and I just was like eating processed flour and a lot of like bad things. So when we moved here, I was actually training for a half marathon, and I was drinking a ton of Powerade Zero, and Philip was like, girl, don't put that in your body. Like, I was drinking like a couple a day, because I was going out in like 90-degree heat on the trail, running 6-7 miles almost every day to get ready for this half marathon. And I think you pointed me towards like more chemicals, like taking that stuff out, versus I was so fixated on the early 90s of like diet and low calorie and, you know, fat free, which is totally wrong. It's totally wrong. All those things are backwards. So I stopped actually eating red meat in 2010 when I graduated high school. And looking back on it, I honestly don't really like know why I started it. But then as I've gone on the last almost 11 years now of not having like steak or pork, I wouldn't say it's environmental things. I would say more so like I got burnt out eating that growing up. Like, my dad's a farmer, and there were staples in our house. And he is like old school, and his steaks are hockey pucks. They are burnt. They are well done. And so I think like growing up eating that, I just like had an aversion. Like, I never looked forward to that. Whereas like most people growing up eating red meat, like beef, love it. I never looked forward to it. I'm like, oh, this is chewy. This is awful. This has no flavor. This is gross. And so I just didn't like it. I do like pork, and my husband, we own a hog building. So it's just funny that I don't eat it, and people kind of like laugh about that. But I have no problem making it. I make it every week in my house for him. So it's not that I don't want it in my house. But yeah, I just don't eat meat. I do eat fish if it's pretty clean. I love salmon. I eat eggs every day. That's a staple. Eggs. I eat a lot of eggs.
Same.
It's good. Perfect protein.
Eggs are
That's
awesome.
Eggs are a
They're
perfect
awesome.
protein.
That actually, I learned that in school, both in undergrad and chiropractic college, that egg is the single most complete source of protein that there is on Earth.
That's neat.
Would an egg be classified like as a superfood?
That's an interesting thought.
It is in my mind now.
I don't know if I'd go that far because it has its lane and it stays in its lane.
Right.
Versus like broccoli is a superfood, spinach
Exactly.
is, because
Yeah.
it can do so many broad things for you. But an egg, it's just protein, you know.
Yeah.
But that's
fat.
Protein and fat.
Yeah.
right.
Right.
The amino acid profile. There is not another source of protein that has as many amino acids that you need.
Per gram of protein. Yeah. So then, yeah, superfoods, a lot of people like assume, oh, greens, right? You know, vitamins, has vitamin, mineral, nutrient as a superfood. But yeah, eggs are good.
Eggs are good. Would you call it a superfood, or is it that point in you, or
I think I just feel confident in knowing that I'm going to be full and I'm going to be satisfied eating eggs. I know they're like, if I get good, clean eggs, yeah.
Right.
I like eating them.
Yeah.
My body
Yes.
does well eating them. So,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So if you're between a protein shake and a handful of eggs, protein shake or eggs, which one would it be?
Eggs.
Mm.
Yeah.
About you?
Depends on the day. Those are two of my things. I eat those
Okay.
two things almost every day.
Yeah.
Or eggs and some kind of protein shake. So I'll have them regardless. Because I'm someone who can eat the same 10 things the rest of my life.
Mm.
I think my husband gets very bored of our refrigerator because I have the same things that I can reorder from Walmart if I've been doing grocery pickup lately. Same things. Put it all in the cart. We're done. I can do that.
Copy paste.
Yeah, yep. I don't need to get anything different. He's like, oh, can I have like something else besides tacos this week?
That's funny.
Yeah, it is.
Needs a little variety, huh?
He does.
Yeah.
I do not.
I feel like when you cut out a lot of the processed stuff, though, like that's kind of the result. I mean, not to say there's not lots of options, but I mean, there's only so many vegetables and there's only so many fruits,
Right.
especially like if you're going up to Highview or Fairway,
Right.
like
Okay.
you got apples, you've got oranges, bananas, and
It's like a big deal if the pineapples are out. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
they have pineapple.
It's like, oh, it's pineapple season.
Right.
What? Look at that. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's like you kind of do end up, if
Yeah.
you take all the other stuff, like the whole middle of the store out, you end up with got a few fruits and vegetables, and here's the meat options. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. But I can do it.
You can do it. You're doing it.
Yeah. Roast up some vegetables, put it in a salad, make some quinoa, some avocado on there. I could eat that every day.
It's good
You
for
ever
you.
had quinoa?
I have. I actually worked for a country club in college, and we made a quinoa bread
Oh,
every night. It was served on
Wow.
the table.
fancy.
It's pretty good. Wasn't as good as the baguettes, but
Oh, yeah. No,
But it was
of course
good.
not.
it was good though. I mean, if all the other bread options were gone, I would eat that.
Yeah.
You could pick one restaurant for a healthy meal and one restaurant for just like almost like your last meal on earth. What's it going to be? Because
That's my question. You're asking me.
yeah, open to the table. When you were talking about baguette, I thought of Biaggi's.
Biaggi's is so
That would probably be my yep.
St. Kilda, downtown. Des
Yeah,
Moines,
for your healthy.
the healthy.
Mhm.
Yep. Guy from Australia came to Des Moines and opened up a
Super
restaurant.
good. I would highly
Clean.
recommend any and everyone to go there. Yeah.
It's very good.
Eatery A in Des Moines.
Eatery A, some pizza.
There's some pretty good options there.
Yeah.
Not
There
everything
are.
is healthy on that menu, but
No,
I think it's a phenomenal place.
go get some pizza.
You guys are gonna need to just broaden my horizons
Yeah,
with the
can.
Des Moines food scene.
It's good.
I'm like, we go down and it's like, all right, is it gonna be Olive Garden or B-Dubs or
my
Wahlburgers or?
We'll take you down.
No.
Yeah, downtown's good. There's
Is it?
Centro. There's
The Des Moines food scene
Spaghetti
is
works.
truly off the hook.
It's
So
hopping. It's hopping
back in the
Des
day,
Moines.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Spaghetti works
oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
now that's kind of like
Uh-oh.
old news.
Old news.
Still
You'd
good.
eat it.
Still a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you know that something's better down the street, you're like,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I'm not.
Thank you.
no,
We're gonna go.
okay.
Summer's coming.
Thank
Things
you.
are opening up.
It's
For
exciting.
sure.
Okay.
The Des Moines
Isaac,
food
have-
scene is top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
Good.
like Dirt Burger, don't you?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
guys?
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked it a lot. It was super good. My
Mm.
super meat eater husband was even like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah. Andy would want to stop at McDonald's on our way
Yeah.
home after eating that, but that would probably happen. He does that. So that's fun too when you have a husband who like this is him this week. Megan, I can see my abs because I haven't had pop because I haven't had a rum and coke all week, and I didn't eat any chips. I'm like, wow, see what like this can do for you? He's like, yeah, but I'm having one tonight. So it's just and then it's like, oh, also you need to go get me Hidden Valley Ranch. So there's a balance. Like he'll eat everything I make and then douse it in ranch. It's fine. I tried.
I can relate.
I kind of gave up. I did. I'm like, he's just gonna go buy it. So if I'm in the store, I'm enabling. Sorry.
Well, He knows.
He knows.
He knows.
He
He's
does.
very intuitive. He knows when he needs to clean it up and when he needs to, where he can give himself some freedom. He likes that little zone. He doesn't want to be shredded or the ripped guy with all his abs exposed. I don't think he wants to be that, but he
Yeah.
doesn't want to be the, he
Now
doesn't
he-
want the fudge around.
No.
No.
Yeah. Now he
Yeah.
wants to be the fit dad. Like, oh, I'm almost 30 and I have big biceps, dad. It's him.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah.
Got an idea of what he wants to go for. That's
right.
good.
Good.
He's like, I guess I don't know his health that well, but he seems like he's pretty healthy. Like, I don't think all of this stuff is like taking him down, but it's probably because it's balanced.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you feed him lots of good
Oh,
things.
yeah. If he
so-
was a single person, it would be very, very bad. He would eat
Dangerous.
ramen every meal. Ramen noodles.
is that a bad thing to do?
Push his
Sorry,
buttons.
I'm antagonizing.
I like
I'll
it.
stop.
This is good.
We're a heck of a duo. Well, Andy is our trio. I mean, the three of us are,
Yeah.
the gym mates.
The gym mates.
Open invitation. Anyone can come. 6:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right.
But
Green County Community Center.
that's right.
It's the place to
At
be.
the rec. Bruh.
Using that stair climber.
I do like the new stair climber.
It's pretty nice.
Big fan. That's a quad burner. Quad burner.
The calf exerciser. You got a new bar. It's a hopping place.
There's some,
Wow.
some.
That's a lot of updates since I canceled my membership.
Mhm.
Well, you got the home gym.
I do have the home gym.
Yeah.
Garage gym.
I got the hookup.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Really good. Really good. Really good.
So we've talked a little bit about what you do and don't do with food. How did you arrive there? I mean, I know you said after it was just you were tired of eating. And so you stopped red meat. And was that the first step? And then did more happen after that?
Well, when I stopped eating red meat and then I went to Iowa, the University of Iowa, my weight fluctuated every year. And I look back at pictures and I'm like, wow, that picture I'm 20 pounds heavier than I am in the picture 6 months before it. And I just wasn't paying attention. So I guess I really wasn't even thinking of it as a health conscious thing. I'm almost might have been in defiance of my dad in a way too, of just I'm not going to eat meat and I'm going to go to Iowa City and I'm going to be this different person from this small town girl. I don't know.
I'll show you.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a huge turd. But then I was. But
Probably
then,
from all the Gatorade and Powerade you were drinking.
yeah, not then I wasn't. That was when I was running.
Oh.
But then it just, as I look on the last 10 years, a lot of it is just, I did gain a lot of weight and I had some losses in my life. My grandparents died really close together. Andy and I had just gotten married. I was about to graduate college. I had a lot of big changes happening in my life. And so emotionally, I gained a ton of weight right after Andy and I got married. And he had mentioned it and I did not take it well. And so that started some weight loss and me watching what I ate, because then I had this crazy accident happen of my blender fell off the top of my fridge and severed the tendon to my big toe on my left foot. So I had to be on a knee scooter for 6 weeks. So then it was me paying attention to, okay, well, running and lifting weights I can't do this. So I have to clean up how I'm eating. So that really initiated it. And just food documentaries too, Forks Over Knives. That's a strict vegan, and they won't even call it vegan. That's plant-based. So they don't do oils. They don't do any of it. So my mom was doing that for a while, and I started to kind of just really focus on eating beans and rice. And so many people are kind of into keto. And I'm I lost 20 pounds eating beans and rice and salsa. We were on a $60 week budget for groceries when we got married.
That's wild.
And and so we would go to Aldi, and that's what I started eating, and I lost weight. So sometimes when people are oh, keto, I'm dude, rice and beans are straight carbs. And I lost weight eating that and not working out. So it was the plants and quality of the food, So, and then when we moved another time to another little town north of Marshalltown. And then I started cleaning up stuff and not doing dairy as much too, because I just found it was making me break out a lot. And that I cut that out and I don't break out. And then we moved to Jefferson. Philip helped me clean up with chemicals and things like that. So it's every
Just kind of one thing.
Yeah.
Every step.
Yeah, and even my in-laws they'll notice how I was indulgent when Andy and I first got married, and then I was super strict. And we've had these conversations, and even last night, my mother-in-law is I saw you had butter on green beans at Easter. I'm yeah, it was good clean butter. I brought it, put on my green beans. Yeah, I did. And she's like, so you're eating dairy again? I'm like, no. I'm not just like eating ice cream and cottage cheese, but like
I had butter.
I guess I don't want to be put in a box. Like
Yeah,
I don't want to be put like, oh, Megan's a vegetarian or vegan, doesn't eat dairy. Like I'll have Halo Top ice cream sometimes. It's like a cleaner,
It's good.
yeah, ice cream, or organic like grass-fed butter, like Carrot Gold. Put that on my vegetables. It tastes good. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Big fan.
So yeah, and now and then I will have like cheddar cheese, like white, clean cheese. So yeah, I just don't want to be put like in a box. And so when I like explain to people how I eat, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not vegetarian because I eat fish. Sometimes I eat dairy, but I feel it out. Yeah.
I like it. You're kind of, I would say, if I'm going to have anyone model their eating after anyone, I would want it to be you as of right now. Like it's clean. You said clean sourced, clean ingredients. I think that's real food, mostly plants, not too much. This is what you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Like right now I have a bowl on my counter soaking of almonds and oats, and I'm going to make some milk later. That milk, right? Okay. Come at me, people, dairy people. But it's not like, I know what's in it. You know,
Yeah.
I know that those oats, I bought those oats. I know those almonds, I bought those almonds. So I have it's called an almond cow. It's hilarious that they even call it that. And you just put your stuff in it, grind it up, and it makes milk. And then I eat it with cereal. It's good.
Got a funny face on.
Do you want to try
right
it?
I would try it.
Okay, that's good.
I think you'd like it.
It
I'm a big
changes
fan.
color, like, so there is a cereal that's clean. Laura Bar makes a cereal. And I've been eating that because I need to get more calories in my day. And my milk will change color. And I'm like, I feel like that's what it should be doing. Like when it doesn't have all these gums and preservatives in it to keep it white. That's not real. It's changing the color of what like the little flakes they've made out of oats and quinoa in that cereal. So things like that. Yeah, it's good.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So it's 3 most inflammatory, damaging things to your gut and your body: sugar, dairy, gluten, based on how it's processed. Like dairy is not inherently evil. Sugar really isn't inherently evil, but it's when you overdo it and when you do it in a processed way that your body is not meant to break down and handle. Not so good things happen in your body. So her making her own milk, it's like, yeah, that's bomb diggity right there.
Yeah.
I like it.
You like
I
it?
mean, yeah, I'm on board with
It's,
doing.
I mean,
doing
you
more
get
of your
used
own
to
stuff.
it. Yeah, you get used to it.
I think for me the biggest thing, like that I don't do all the clean stuff, is like I don't want to give the time to do it. So convenience is a factor in my diet.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know I could do something else. I could go get fresh vegetables or whatever, but or even like last night I was looking at my options and I didn't eat great last night, and it was because I had meat downstairs and I don't think I had any vegetable. I maybe had some lettuce. I could have made a salad, but I didn't. I could have thawed out some meat, but I didn't want to wait 30 minutes to an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
The ramen was right there, ready to go. So
It's-
glad we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You
So
know,
glad you're here for this, Megan.
right.
It's a good discussion.
Food won't be a divider. I won't
I
allow
know.
food to
No.
be a divider.
No.
Not at all.
But when you see that
Fine,
people,
drink up.
you know, like, and I worked for you, and a lot of people that are probably going to watch this know that, or they'll find out now that I worked for you.
Right.
And so I would
Worked
see
with me.
people, yeah, worked with you.
Yeah.
I saw people just coming in week after week, and it's like, I have this pain, I have this, and it's like, girl, clean up your food. Like,
Yeah.
you just want to shout it at them. It's like, that is like so much of the problem, you know, with so many things going on in people's lives. So I guess if you're going to have complaints about your health, the first thing you should look at is what you're putting in your mouth.
Because that becomes you.
Yeah.
Like that's what you have to make more you. Yeah.
That's why there's the phrase, you are what you eat.
And it's true.
It's true.
Yeah. But I don't think that concept has gotten into mainstream ideas yet. Mainstream media news. It's not there unless you're following, you know, like a health guru like Dr. Axe or some chiropractor or some doctor who, you know,
Dr.
really has
Hyman.
it together. Right. Yeah. And I wish more medical doctors would go there early and often, and some do. And I've learned just being in the practitioner field, like I talk to a lot of people, and they go to medical doctors and they come to me. Like that cohesion of a network is great. Like we should all be working together. Mm-hmm. And when people tell me that their doctor told them that they need to clean up what they eat, I'm like, yes. Mm-hmm. Did you listen? Do you agree with that? Do you think what they said is true? I ask that question a lot. Do you think that's true? And usually you get them and you get to hear where they're at. And
our society's really focused on, like, I feel like there's been a switch in like chemical for products. So I see so many people like, and I agree. And I try to clean up products in my own home. Like I don't have like bleach or things like that in my own house, but the push for oils, and I think they're great too. There's definitely a benefit to having essential oils and using aromatherapy and having cleaner products that you use in your hair and your face, on your body. But then they eat these things. So part of me is like, these don't, they don't work together, right? So like, I would get feisty, right? When I'd be like, you're posting about how like these oils are so good for you and how everyone should be like investing in being an oiler, and I'm an oiler person, right? But they're food. I'm like, oh gosh, you're putting stuff directly in your gut. Yeah. And I love that you're cleaning up the products in your house, but like the food is where you got to start.
It's got to be both.
Yep.
Can't be one without the other.
Yep. But it's all good. So there is a switch. It's happening for sure. But I mean, we also live in a society now where like you can't call somebody out or like lovingly tell them, your weight can be an issue because now you're fat shaming. And I'm going to say that. Well, I mean, that's the society we are now in is you're not accepting
for sure
of someone's size. So
we've talked about that and what love is. And, the most loving thing to do would be to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. And when the truth is this is an issue and it can be potentially harmful, I would go to so far to say it's unloving to ignore it and let this bad behavior that is obviously destructive go on and on and on and do nothing.
It's also, I think, like a rejection of accountability too, though, because to say, well, I don't want to hear it, or, spin you telling me that I shouldn't drink this because it's bad for me, like as you being hateful toward me in some way.
No.
I mean, I know you're not doing that.
Right.
I'm just saying if I were to take offense, like I'm rejecting accountability about something, when I tell you I ate ramen and it's like, hit your head on the table. It's like, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that you are telling me it's wrong because I know it's wrong.
Right.
And so I think it goes both ways. I mean, which I think it does go back to like love. We've talked before about how relationships are not as like deep across the board, I think, today as probably they once were. Like people have maybe more, like greater quantity of connections, but the quality of relationships has suffered and gotten less. And I think accountability is something that you find in a mature relationship, but not something you find in a surface relationship. So when you've just got 1,000 or 2,000 surface, like Facebook friends that all they see is the best highlight reel of your life online, but you don't have anybody that like knows you and knows what's going on and has the, I don't know, authority, maybe that's the wrong word. They have the place in your life where they can call you on stuff. Then I think you're isolated in a way. You're isolated to your own desire, which is a proverb. The one who isolates himself seeks his own desire.
For sure.
So I think it's just that at work in people. So I don't know, that could go into a relationship discussion. Like I think you're going to be healthier when you have healthy relationships because you're going to have people that help you figure it out and support you along the way. I mean, I feel like I've told him before, we go to the gym 3 times most weeks. I wouldn't be there if I didn't have people, him and your husband, to go and meet there. If it was just me, there's lots of days I would sleep in. But accountability, it keeps you on track.
Yeah, and that's okay. Some people, if they need that, if you want that and need that and you're asking for that, that's great. It's a great thing to have. And you have people that are going to come alongside you and do that. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you should just ask, because I think people would be surprised the response they would get if they asked for accountability or like someone to step into that role. I feel like more people want that than they would express. So you should ask. If you want it, ask for it.
Ask for it.
It'll be good.
You can ask us.
Ask us.
Got no one else to ask.
Yeah. See you
Yeah.
at 6:30 on Monday morning.
Right. Yeah. That's when it's going down. Yeah, for sure. Which, 4 big topics: health, relationships, management of resources, which is time, energy, money, and then your career and your pursuit of passions, right? So it's like, and the reason we give so much weight to health, I'm just backtracking into my why. It's because like when health is not being taken care of, it can derail you in every other area of your life. And I think it's worth it to put a little bit of effort in to preserve and protect your health early on in life versus let it fall to pieces and rob you of the money that you work so hard to make and rob you of the relationships that you can't invest in because you can't get out and walk, or you have to spend all your money on maintaining your life because you'll die without it, sort of a thing, you know? Like, that's why I think it's so important. Which, do you identify with that? Like, that's why you protect your health now? Or why does Megan get up and eat clean? Why does she not just pound Oreos? Why do you work out even when it's like, this isn't really what I want to do, but
Yeah.
why do you do that?
I mean, I was a certified nursing assistant, so CNA in high school and college. It helped me like pay some of my bills in college and spending money, whatever. And I saw a deterioration of people and what that looks like too. And I also see a great example of people who just do a good job of taking care of their health are my in-laws. Andy's parents are in their late 50s, early 60s, and they can keep up with us on 10-mile hikes in Colorado in like 13,000 foot elevation. So, and they're an example of that. And I don't like how when people like blame genetics, well, I'm big boned, or, you know, you got good genetics. No, like I see how they take care of themselves versus how other people in their family take care of themselves, and there's a difference.
Sure.
So I see that, and I just don't want the deterioration of like I can't walk 2 miles when I'm 50. I don't want that.
Right.
And so I lift weights and I walk, and I was at the rec center the day before I had my child.
The day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. On the bike.
How long did you wait after having your child to go back?
I know my midwife will never see this, so I'll say, but 6 days.
Oh, wow.
I was told to wait, but I felt good.
Yeah.
Like I was feeling good. And I'm not doing anything compared, like I'm not running. I'm not like deadlifting or snatching or clean, nothing. I'm not doing anything heavy with a barbell, but I did try to walk, and I walked half a mile, super slow on the treadmill, got out some dumbbells, did some single leg RDLs with them, you know, but, I mean, I'm weak compared to what I used to be, but I just think that helped me in my pregnancy and in my birth with her, that I was just consistent and going. Even when I was so tired, I'm like, I should just go for 20 minutes and I'll go. So yeah, but back to the question is, I don't want to be someone who is in a nursing home when I'm 70 and I'm overweight and I have to have a foyer lift moving me from a chair to a bed to a toilet. No, thank you. Like, I want quality of life. So that is why I do this.
It's a great reason. It actually brings me to something I wrote when you guys were talking about all of the terrible things that people like that I eat. And
Hey, I had pie last night. Okay, can have.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not perfect at this.
I know.
I also really like donuts.
Yeah.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Bought you one recently.
Yeah.
I wrote down ignorance of severity. And the reason I wrote that is because we've talked before about like people knowing things are bad for them. And I mean, like, I know this is sugar water. I know this is not as good for me as drinking H2O. I eat things that like ramen and Eatos and all that. I know it's not good. And yet I make a decision that, donuts aren't good. And yet you still eat. I just think we know that things are bad, but I wonder if the general population knows how bad things are, Because I know you've talked to me before, not about anybody specifically, but you've said, yeah, like, I'll have somebody come in and tell me, yeah, I know that's bad for me, but, I do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if you knew how bad, like we're talking about quality of life when you're 50, 60, 70, like, do you recognize how much this is going to impact you down the road, or, a thyroid condition, or, pick your circumstance. There's probably many that eating wrong will lead you to, whether that's just being weak and unable to support your lifestyle, or a physical condition where you got to go spend something and see a doctor now. I wonder if people, when they are making it, like me making a decision to drink this today, like when I pulled this out of the fridge, I'm not thinking about this could cause me X, Y, and Z problems. I wonder if like just that message, because people know it's bad. People know Coke is bad, and that's why they drink Diet Coke. And probably there's some that are deceived into thinking diets and zeros are better, which that message maybe should be made more well known. We're making it known here, but
Yeah.
It's also society that doesn't plan, right? Like we live in a society that and I'm coming at this now from a financial aspect, but my husband works in finance. So he's worked in a bank where he's seen personal checking savings, and then now he works for Farm Credit. And he would tell me, he's not, he doesn't say names. In a small community where we lived before, I didn't know anybody, but people would maybe have a couple $100 to their name, and they were like 60. And that's normal. There are just people that don't save. So I just see that as that's the mindset of people around us now, as they're not thinking long term or what they can do for their families or being around for their families. They're thinking about just today. And so they're thinking about what's convenient today. And those are convenient things. Spending my money and paycheck to paycheck is just convenient in what I'm doing because we're living for today. So I just see that as a big reason why people choose what they choose in their lives.
Instant gratification.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. My little notebook right here is always here for when the life lessons, like the things that are true all the time and always good for life, show up. Write them down. Number 1 was delay instant gratification, because there's almost never a time where an opportunity presents itself, and for you to this is my dog responding to my wife coming home right here. So if you're hearing squeaks and things, that is what's going on. But when is it ever okay to drop everything and ignore every other thing going on in life and to grab instant gratification? It almost never is proper or good for you to do that. So delaying instant gratification is another thing kind of about society's mindset, is we don't prioritize that. We don't know the severity of the things. Ignorance of severity. What a great label representing the collective mindset of people right now is, till you know, you don't know. Which is a funny thing, is because you can't be blamed for what you haven't been told yet, necessarily. How can you be found guilty if you're ignorant to the entire crime? Which is an interesting topic, interesting thought. I don't blame anyone for making bad decisions until you know. And until you choose to do it over and over again, at that point, then it's okay, then you're making your own bed. Are you prepared to sleep in it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yes.
Moving on.
That's enough of that.
All these things I could talk a
really
couple
good.
hours on.
Right on.
So that's, yeah.
There was 45 minutes closer to 55 minutes of straight food, straight health. It's good.
Good conversation.
It's a good trio to do that with.
One of my favorite topics. Yeah.
I'm curious about childbirth, and just, I know some of your birth story, and it's pretty amazing, I would say. But then for you to, you take very good care of your body. So for you to get up and move around 6 days after, I would call that normal. That's what's possible for most people.
Yeah.
Most people are not capable of that because,
Sure.
they don't take care of their body as well as you do, I would say. But
yeah, backstory just a little bit on everything is that I struggled with infertility for, but for about 4 years before I was able to get pregnant. So that was just a process in itself. And to bring in, you two are men of faith and you have a relationship with God, and we haven't talked about that, but that was something that I did not do a good job of leaning in to the Lord with. It was something I was like frustrated with and didn't even like want to acknowledge God in that. I was bitter a lot of the time. It was just really frustrating, and I was doing things that I thought I should be doing with my body to get pregnant. You know, I'm eating well, I sleep well, I drink a lot of water. I was just frustrated. Then you see people around you everywhere. It felt like getting pregnant, and you have people getting pregnant again 2 times maybe while you're trying to get pregnant. And so that was hard. That was really hard for me. And it was, then you have this guilt of like, I know I should not be feeling like this. And I know I need to lean in on God and just like trust. And I had like, that was my word of the year. Like the last 3 years was just like trust and obey. And I just like, and I would hear that and I would fight it. I still just fought it because I am so stubborn, and I am like, I can do things on my own. I don't need to ask, which I've gotten a lot better about asking for help. But so that was great. So we got pregnant last summer. I actually had an IUI. So kind of a crazy story. They just take a sample, put it in you. You hope it works. It worked. So it was my body that didn't work. But okay, so I'm pregnant. Right. So and it did work. Everything worked. It was great. So my birth story, do we want to go right up?
Let's go there.
To it? So she's 4 weeks old today, or yesterday, really. But she was due March 24th, and it was March 10th. I had gone to school. I had come home. I had made Andy supper. He was meeting with the guy who does our hog chores. I wrote all the thank yous to the baby shower I'd had from the week before. Because, you know, I'm like, I have 2 weeks to get these, you know, this kid's going to be here. Went to bed, called my dad, talked to my dad for a while. I was like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I feel good. She's moving around. She's kicking. I'm good. Went to sleep about 10 o'clock, 12:30. So this is March 11th, 12:30 a.m. I wake up and I'm like, oh, okay. I need to go to the bathroom. Then I'm like, oh, this feels crampish. I'm going to walk up and down the steps. Braxton Hicks contractions are contractions that are like false contractions, but they prep your uterus for labor. Walking up down the steps, laying on the living room, drinking water, going back to bed. I'm like, okay, these are getting intense. So this started at 12:30. By this time, it's like 1:15, and I started keeping track of them around 12:50 because I'm like, these are consistently happening. And then my app that I'm using is like alerting me, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, no, like, shut up. Like, there's no way. It's only been, you know, like a half an hour at this point. So I called over to Ames because I had used the midwives at Mary Greeley. Great experience. Loved it. Loved my midwives. They were great. And sitting on the toilet, keeping track of my contractions, and I get over there and I call the first nurse. They answer finally after like 10 to 15 minutes of being on hold. And I'm like, so I'm sitting on the toilet. I am counting my contractions on an app. It's telling me to go to the hospital. And she's like, okay, when did they start? I'm like, like 40 minutes ago. She's like, like, this is very weird. She's like, did your water break? I'm like, I don't know. I might have peed my pants. I don't know, like, what actually happened. So she's like, okay. And I started to have one. She's like, yeah. She like hurt, like I was working through it. She's like, yeah, you need to get here now. So I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm like trying to like mentally like wake up. First of all, I'm like kind of not awake. And I'm like, Andy. So I feel like I should preface that or like backstory. My husband is the most high maintenance sleeper to ever walk this earth. He has to have it pitch dark. He has to have a fan on him at a perfect angle. He has to have 3 pillows. This man has had like 4 different pillows while we've been married because he has to have the perfect one. Okay. We've bought 2 beds since we've been married because his bed. Okay. He wears earplugs, and it's not because anyone snores. He just wears them. So he has earplugs like that you would use when you guys go shoot guns. Those earplugs are in his ears every night. They're in my bed. I find them in my bed. I find them on the floor. They're everywhere. And he comes out and he's like blind. Andy's also like blind. So then he comes out and he's like in his undies and he has his glasses on that look like magnifying glasses. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm having contractions. And he's like, what? Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm sure. He's like, okay. I go, you need to go get our stuff now and go put it in the truck. We didn't really have anything ready because I was like, I've got a couple weeks. You're always told your first baby takes, is longer than your due date. You'll be in labor for a really long time. Okay. So I was expecting like a month almost. Really, I really was. And I was like yelling at him. So I'm like, you need to go now. Like, go get your stuff. Pack your bag. Go get your toiletries. We're leaving. Like, go. So he threw all this crap. It was so funny. He I had stuff in her room kind of ready, like a car seat. He took half the gifts she's gotten. So where I'm like when we were coming back from the hospital, I'm like, why did you put this stuff back there? He's like, I didn't know what you needed. It was all sitting in that pile. I'm like, these are gifts. They're in gift bags, Andy. Anyway, I love him. He's so funny. So we're in the truck and I'm just sitting there and working through it. And then he's realizing like, okay, these are real. Cause like one happened at Casey's, then one happened at Hamilton Ready Mix, and then we're to the bridge. And then we're like, he's like, okay. So it's funny cause my dad is notorious for like driving 90 miles an hour, no matter where he goes. It's always like 85. Like he just speeds all the time. And so my dad's like, were you hauling ass when you were moving? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, he wasn't. He was driving like 62. No, he wasn't. Like that's Andy cause he doesn't speed. So we're in Ogden, and then Andy's like, oh, these are getting real. So we get there. We're getting to Ames. My favorite part is we're on Duff, and you're going over the train tracks if you're driving north. I'm in the middle of a contraction. Then Andy decides to speed up. So then I'm like, over these train tracks. And we get in there, and they said to go in the emergency room. So we're like, okay. We're there. Andy runs in. He's like, my wife is in labor. And they're like, sir, can you please put a mask on? And he's like, are you kidding? Like, my wife is in labor. Can, like, you guys help her? So I get out of the truck, and then I'm sitting there. And then a lot of what I was yelling on the way to Ames was, I'm going to poop my pants. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I told you I was going to say the word. But that was what I was yelling the entire time. I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom right now. So they let me go in the bathroom, and these two poor guys are sitting in the emergency room. And I probably didn't look like I was pregnant. I had one of Andy's baggy sweatshirts on, so I probably just looked like some crazy woman who's screaming and like all these ridiculous things. And then I'm having a contraction in the bathroom, and it's almost like exorcism, like, oh, like ridiculous noises. And I'm trying to be quiet. And then I come out, and they're looking at me like, I scared them. It was funny. So then I get in the wheelchair, and I'm just like closing my eyes, and I finally got up to the birthways floor. Wild night for births. My midwife is pulled to a C-section. She's never pulled for C-sections. It was an emergency C-section. They had to pull from a clinic in Ames to have a doctor come because there were so many women giving birth. Wow. So I'm up there, and then I'm yelling at these poor young nurses. They're like 22. I'm like yelling at them. Like, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to sit on the toilet. They're like, no, you don't. I'm like, yes, I do. I need to sit on the I need to go. And then they started to take my clothes off me. I'm like, I do not want to give birth in a hospital gown. And then they're like, we're going to go lay over here. I'm like, I am not laying down when I'm giving birth to this child. I was being ridiculous. I was just being defiant because I'm stubborn. And then, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm yelling at them. And then this doctor comes in, and she like checks, and she's like, oh, well, there's the baby's head. By this time, it is 2:40. My contraction started at 12:30. So, and Andy and I like stopped, and we both stared at her. We're like, what? And I'm like, oh, this is happening right now. So then the process, and my midwife came, and I pushed for half an hour, and there she was.
3:15.
3:15 on the dot. That girl was born.
2 hours and 45 minutes of labor.
Yep.
Wow.
I just like woke up in full contractions. It was the craziest thing. Yeah.
You thought it'd be longer.
Oh, yeah. I was like mentally preparing myself. Like as we were driving there, I'm like, I'm going to have her today. But I did not think I would get there and just be like, oh, we feel her head. Get going. Right. So it was great.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
What a story.
It is. It's pretty funny.
You told it so well.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm glad if Andy was here, he'd defend himself. Well, I was having a dream, and I didn't hear you, and I was scared to hit a deer on our way there, so I wasn't driving fast.
This is what
Maybe that'll get him to come on and tell his side of the story.
we'll get him to tell his story, and we'll layer them together.
Oh.
So it's like you guys back
There you
and
go.
forth.
You're
Yeah.
having a
That'll be-
conversation.
Yeah.
Easily the most we've laughed on an episode so far.
Seriously.
Usually we get pretty serious, but here we are. Yeah, it's good.
great.
I'm glad. I'm glad that our 26-hour marathon of labor didn't influence you and just the way that it went. I'm glad 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm glad you broke that.
Bridget's one of my best friends. And it was like an hour after I had given birth to her and I'm holding her. And I like looked at Andy and I like said, I'm like, I just like kind of feel guilty how fast this went because I was with Bridget her entire labor. And I'm just like, I cannot imagine doing that long. And so I thought of her because she was that example of like, this is what I could be going through. And she handled that. Like Bridget didn't make a peep that entire day. And I'm just this screaming, crazy woman.
Scaring the guys.
Scaring everybody in the hospital, yelling at the nurses. Like, that's me. And then I'm apologizing. Like, I don't remember it. But Andy's like, you were cracking jokes with the nurses, like, between your contractions. Like, because your body just relaxes. Then it's like nothing's going on. And then you feel it coming. And it's like, okay, here we go. And he's like, yeah, you were like cracking jokes and you were apologizing for being crazy. And I'm like, well, at least I was aware that I was being a little ridiculous.
So good.
Yeah.
Wish there was like, video or audio of
know.
that just to
Gosh.
remember. It's one of those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next time, just strap a GoPro to Andy's chest.
Oh yeah, no, he was. They are like, here, you're gonna hold her leg, and he was down there for one contraction, and he's like, there's a nurse standing by the window. He's like, come here, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna. No, he's like, I need to help her. He's like, I need to help her. So he just stood by me and like patted me, and then I would like be like, don't touch me.
So funny.
It was funny. It was great. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yep. I couldn't have asked for anything better. It would have been scary if she was born in the truck, the pickup,
Right.
but she wasn't.
There's that video. I almost
The parking lot woman.
Yeah, where she's like walking into the birthing
And
center
the
and then
baby just
literally
falls.
gives birth
Yeah,
as she's walking in.
Well, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, that one's
man.
crazy.
It's been during COVID because everyone around him had masks on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
These two security guards are like, "Are you okay?" And her midwife comes out and literally catches the baby.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
While she's standing.
Yes, she's standing and giving birth.
Oh my goodness.
In front of the door.
Right.
Is that a woman who'd had multiple?
I
Birth
know.
I have
no idea.
But it just, I was like, well, that was almost me.
Right.
Because there was one where she's in the passenger side and they're driving to the hospital and she like catches
Oh yeah.
her own child
Yeah,
just
I've
there.
seen that one too.
Yeah,
That was recent.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's freaking out like, is this seriously happening right now? And then boom, it just happens and slides out like a.
Right. Well, it's crazy how just like intuitive motherhood comes in and she just catches that baby. She's like,
Yeah.
"Yep, my baby's here."
Yeah.
Right.
I pulled Lainey out. Like she kind of was there and I just grabbed her and threw her on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Heck of an experience.
Yep. Gray, slimy little alien.
Yeah.
And I was like, you look nothing like me. That's what I said.
You still say that now. She's a month old.
She's starting to look more like me.
Is she?
Yeah,
Okay.
her eyes are blue and she's got dark hair.
There
so
you go.
It's going to develop.
It's
yeah.
changed. She's changing.
Yeah.
The Carmans have a smushy looking face. Like they just have these big cheeks. So I was like, she looks like a Carman. Well, she did because babies are all squishy.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be fun.
All babies look like Carmen's. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they all have these just like fat little faces and even like these little lips
Yeah.
that are
The
all
baby
like
fat and all that.
fat.
Yeah.
When they lay
Smushed.
down, they're
Big
smushed.
smushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been
Little
smushed for a
squish.
long
Yeah,
time in
I
there.
call her little squish.
Little
That's-
squish.
Little
squish.
squish.
Man.
It's fun. Yeah. It's been good. Month of motherhood.
So how's your energy?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew what to expect. So I'm like, we're going to be up. We're going to be feeding. I'm nursing. So I knew what to expect. Andy's home. I mean, it's ridiculous when the dad has better paternity leave than the mother has maternity leave. So he's home with me anyway, and he works from home. But yeah, he's been really helpful. He's like, what do you need? Do you need your water filled up? I'm like, yep. For the second time today.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. It just flashbacks to
Yeah.
our first one, you
Yep.
know, because I didn't, being a business owner, it's like I felt like I had to go back to work or else like the money train is
Right.
gonna dry up and it
Right.
ain't coming in anymore. You know, so it's like I've got to be there.
Well, and you were at a weird time when like COVID was like, people are
Just
starting to
starting.
wear
Yeah.
masks. Were we gonna have to close? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Wild time.
Yeah.
Wild
It
time.
was wild.
Yeah. He gets like 3 months, doesn't he, Andy?
He gets 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay.
6 weeks.
Right
Yep.
on. It's good. It's good to be there.
He's still working. He can't not answering calls,
Well,
going
yeah.
to meetings.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's on demand.
Yeah.
He's on demand. That's good. Well, because that time, it segues us right into kind of just how you manage time, because pretty soon he'll go back to work and you'll have the summer. But then, like, how do you foresee that going over the summer just with him gone? Well, I suppose he'll still be working from home, probably.
Yeah. He'll probably always work from home now.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, family being so close is awesome. So, I mean, right now my mother-in-law is sitting with her.
Right on.
And he's a track coach. He's at track practice.
Yes.
I'm here. So yeah, I just having family close and they want to sit with her. Like they know they're not the full-time babysitter and I don't want them to be, but it's like, hey, you want to sit with her for 45 minutes? Like, yeah, yep, I'll be there. And then they're
I'll be
20
there.
minutes early or than the time you told them to be
funny.
there because they want to be there longer.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's cute.
no, it's good. But just trying to keep her outside, keep her active, things like that.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect time to have a kid, you know.
Oh, I know.
Moving into spring,
Yep.
good weather. Yeah, get her
It's
outside.
perfect.
We were, right, Ellie, I mean, she was, again, April 1st, right? We were outside in the summer and then winter hit. And now she's like coming on to 1 year old and we were finally outside after the winter again. And she's like looking around like, what is this? What is this place?
Put her
It's
in
like,
grass. She's like, what is
Yeah.
grass?
she's never experienced grass, you know? She's like almost 1. It's wild. So it's crazy to think about that. There she
I
is.
hear,
if you
yeah.
can hear. Yeah,
Cool.
for sure. Do people ask you constantly, well, are you excited to get married?
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the time.
Isn't that your favorite question when they're like, are you ready to get married? And you're like, just troll them. Be like, no, nope, not ready.
I mean,
You're never going to
yeah. How do
actually,
you get fully prepared for
Right.
that? I mean,
Yeah.
You just get married.
I'm as ready as I think I could be.
Yes. Yes.
If you weren't ready, you shouldn't have asked.
That's exactly.
You know, but
Yeah.
so I trust you are ready, you know, and excited for it, or else. Yeah.
There will be things that are unexpected, but such is life. I mean, there's always unexpected things, and I love Taylor, and I think she loves me, and
Yep.
we're gonna do it together.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
excited for it. Yeah, it's pretty much what I say to everybody. Yep, I'm excited for it.
And you'll have kids when you have kids.
Yep.
That
Not gonna-
question will get asked a lot.
A lot.
too.
1,000 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when you go back to Winterset to visit your family. If you go to church with
So-
your parents, everyone at church will be like, so when are the kids coming?
Well, I probably won't encounter that very much because I've got my own thing to do on Sunday
It's true.
morning every
It's
week.
true. I
so-
guess you won't be doing church visiting.
but
very often,
I get
but-
the question from plenty of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that, like, too, struggling with infertility. That question
Oh, they'd ask.
is awful.
I
It's a
believe it.
horrible question.
It's a horrible question. And again, then I have to reevaluate myself. Am I choosing to be offended? Or should they just not ask that? But there are, like, I'll never, you know, and it's not something where I don't ever want to say I'll never forget, but something that does stick out in my mind that's held me accountable in how I ask people questions at different stages of life, whether it be if they're single, about to get married,
Yeah.
about to have kids.
For sure.
Maybe don't want kids. Just don't ask those questions maybe. But one of my aunts, she asked the question and I basically was kind of snotty with her after a while. And I was like, I'm struggling to have like kids. And she goes, oh, I didn't have any problems at all. Is the,
Wow,
the
great
response.
response.
Yeah. So the response sometimes
Wow.
is what like kind of sticks
That's
out in your
tough.
mind. So I think like, and I have Twitter. I have tweeted about this before. Like when it comes to holiday time, do not like ask people those kinds of questions. Like why are you single? Where's your boyfriend?
Like
When are you getting
presumptive,
married?
yeah.
Yeah. And then my joke is like, bring the Jefferson Herald with you. Bring the police beat with you as something to talk about at a family gathering. That thing is hilarious.
It
That
is
could be a
hilarious.
conversation
true.
starter.
I read it every time I go into his office.
Oh yeah, it's like what ridiculous animal has been called in on the police, and
Right.
so that was always my joke.
Who heard a noise in their basement?
Yeah, who needs a bat?
That
For
was
a
my
while,
most recent
There was
one.
like
That was the
4
last
weeks
one,
of
yeah.
bats that need taken out of people's
Yeah.
houses last spring. It was
Oh,
so
man.
funny. It was like, oh, there's the bat again.
Seriously,
Bats
there's
are
like
back.
It's the
30
same
bats.
bat. I think it's the same bat. It's just tormenting people. But
Sneaky
yeah,
bat.
but back on
Yeah, the
serious
questions.
just the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something on April 1st, and it said,
Yeah.
like, having a kid is not an April Fool's joke.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe don't post like it is.
Right. Yep.
I don't like the loaded questions
Mm-hmm.
like that. I even think back to like graduation when
Mm-hmm.
I was about to graduate high school. And I mean, I had plans to go to a school, but everybody always asks, so what are you doing next? You know,
Right.
where are you going to college?
Yep.
I was, but what
Yeah.
if I wasn't?
Right. The stage of life questions. And I always try to like think about that.
Where are you gonna work after school? I don't know.
Yeah. And,
When
and
are you
it's
gonna get
hard
married?
because
Yeah.
like some people just want to like have a small
Yeah.
talk and don't
Right.
always know how to like start a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those questions, I try to avoid those with people. So I joke, like one of our friends asked me, he's like, are you ready? And I was like, nope. And he like caught him off guard. I'm like, yes, I am. Like, I'm as ready as I can be. You know, what am I supposed to do?
Right. Right. Yeah. Great point.
I just think it's awkward sometimes. Like, I don't know what to say.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you have a replacement question
Like
that you
something-
like to
There we go.
ask besides the police beat? Because unless you carry the police beat
No,
around all
that
the
was just
time,
my
right?
sassy way
Yeah,
of
yeah.
filling in
There you go.
a conversation.
Feisty.
No, I think that like my sister-in-law, Andy's sister Elizabeth, is so good at asking people questions that are intentional, and so she doesn't ask those kinds of questions. And I've tried to learn from her on like how you can initiate or even get to know a person. So without it feeling like an interview too, which is really tricky to do with people when you're trying to get to know them or, you know, start that conversation with someone you haven't seen in a long time without interviewing them. So a lot of it is like, don't ask the question that they can give a one-word answer to, a closed
Yes,
answer
no.
to. Yeah, like, so how have you been? Oh, good.
Right.
Question over. I have to come up with another one. So, I mean, a lot of it could be, which seems surfacey, but like things that are currently going on, which people have avoided the last few years because of political or personal preference on things. Or, I mean, I can't come up with a good example for you, which is really pathetic. But I mean, do you know what I mean? Like not giving
Yeah.
a close-ended
Yep.
question.
Yes. Yes. Not giving a close-ended question.
Like, yeah, like don't give the opportunity for someone to give you one word and then you have to come up
Right.
with something
The
else.
yes or no's.
Yes.
Yep.
Or just like, oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like something along the line of like, what are you excited about right now
Oh, that's
in
good.
life?
Yeah. There you
know,
go.
What's something you're passionate
There
about?
you go. Those are good.
Because then it
And that helps you get to learn someone too.
and yeah, it puts them on a topic that they actually care about. Because I've had those conversations too, where it's like about something that I don't even know.
What do you like to do in your free time? Like what, or do you have free time?
Let me give you a list.
Yeah, right?
Rattle some things off.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's a better question though than
Yeah.
how you doing.
Why aren't you engaged yet?
When are you getting? And like, yeah, you're gonna be the first one I tell. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I think some questions are statements too. Like the "How you
Oh.
doing?" That's not a question. That's
That's
like
Iowa small
it's a
talk.
greeting.
Yeah.
It's hello.
Yep.
We're both here.
It's like when you're checking out at Hy-Vee. How are you today? It's like that's been
Scripted.
asked
Fine.
60 times
Right.
before you know.
Go off script.
Yeah.
Go off script. It's a good thought. Yeah. Yeah. I'm even blanking on like how I do it at the office too. I don't know. It's just, I guess.
I think you have good relationships with people that you know to ask them that personal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Try to go that next level down
Right.
instead of the, how you doing today?
Well,
Yeah.
and if you
Skip
don't
it,
know the
skip it.
person super well, you're usually like, how's the body?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Sure.
That's what they're there for.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
Our greeting is "How you feeling?" Like at the gym.
Is that what we do?
I think that's how almost every morning starts. How you feeling?
Do you feel like you give a genuine answer? Like, instead, like, do you say good?
I mean, I
like-
think we both kind of go into it. It'll be like, oh, I'm doing all right. A little tired. This part kind of hurts. Ate this last night, so feeling kind of this way.
It's
Yeah.
the pre-check to make sure we're like good to go
Yeah.
for the gym in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you'll share like emotionally how you're doing.
I do.
Yeah.
Isaac, gives me therapy at the gym. just about every other time. I feel like I'm just gonna full transparency. Yeah, I feel like I go there quickly with you. Like I give it to you now.
Yeah.
Maybe not early on in our relationship, but now where it's like, no,
Yeah, there's probably more digging early on.
sure, that
More
needed
kind
to
of
happen
pre-conversation.
for sure. I feel like these last 2 gym days, it's just like, dude, here's where I'm at. Here's what's going on. Yeah, Wednesday especially, I felt like was that way. Yeah, that's almost like what gets him to the gym, is if I'm like giving him this emotional stuff to like talk about and prompt, you know, because like he said earlier, if it was just the gym for the gym's sake, I don't know if we would be as consistent as we are, but I mean, we have a unique relationship at this point to where
Yeah, love it.
that's drawing us there.
Yeah.
Because I'm selfish with my time there. Like, don't want to be there with anybody else.
Don't talk to me.
I don't want you to talk to me. And
Here
my
to
husband,
work.
Andy's almost the same way. I want my headphones in. I only want to be here for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I want to be done.
The other day,
I know.
we were talking about something. Like, I turned my back and then I like made a comment as I was turning around, and he had his earbuds in and he was like walking away, and I was like, well, it's the end of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't being rude. It was
Right.
just like,
Yeah.
that's
He
the
was
end of the
focused.
conversation.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Back to the weights.
Yep. And I do like feel bad about that, because there are some people that are like, let's go do this thing together. It's like a social thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a thing where it's like, this is a me outlet thing. This is, I need to go do this and get it done.
People have different needs in that way too,
Yeah.
though, because there's people that need the talk, and then there's
Oh.
people who need,
Yep.
this is me in my own time and space.
Yep.
So
I appreciate that. No, I like
gotta
that.
fill your tank up.
That's right.
Yeah. I just think too, like back to what we were saying earlier about accountability and like relationships, I think it's so important to ask, because like I love that you and I have the kinds of conversations we do there, but they wouldn't happen if one of us didn't ask. If you didn't ask what I think about it, or if I didn't bring it up to you, I mean, we'd just sit there in silence and
Right.
lift weights.
Pick
Right.
stuff up and put it back down.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
bro,
all
come
we
on,
would
bro.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. So asking, I think that's important. Real questions, genuine questions, off script.
I think people sometimes see that as like a weakness too, when I think it's such like a form of strength
Definitely.
to acknowledge that you might need something from somebody else.
Right. Especially emotional support
Yeah.
in anyone, but especially men who have almost been shoved into a box or not supposed to get emotional support
Right.
because that's not manly. And there's a guy, and you'll know who I'm talking about, who it's like, if I start talking about my feelings and eating salads and doing yoga, then just shoot me, you know, like that was the response. It's like, because that wasn't who he was supposed to be, because he thinks he's supposed to be, you know, X, Y, and Z, and strong and the sturdy and the pillar. And yes, you are to some degree, but that doesn't mean you can't.
Right. Have an outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional support, spiritual support is like part of health. You've got to have it, or else, again, it'll consume your whole body. It doesn't matter how fit or how much you can pick up and put down. It's
It's true.
And I kind of go back over everything, like we've talked about too, is just like tying God in to like how I eat as well. Like I also want to like glorify him, and we've been called to like treat, you know, we've been told to treat our bodies like a temple. And so I can't sit here and complain about how bad I feel if the things I put inside me were bad. So I just want to like glorify him, and I can't be my best if I don't feel my best. And that goes with like sleep too. I've like the last couple of years have been really good, or might be, I don't know, just being like, I'm leaving. It's late. I know my like max. I know, I know like this, I will not be my best self tomorrow if I'm not in my bed in a half an hour, you know? So I've excused myself from like hanging out with people later than normal, or like Bible study. I will look at my husband and be like, I'm ready to go. And we will go, and I feel, and there's times I'm like, okay, I feel bad, the conversation's good or whatever, but then it's just like, I need this will make me, like, I will get headaches and I will get like sick. I will get a cold if I do not sleep. I'm one of those people. So yeah, it's another thing too.
smart. Yeah. Then you're doing that one thing for yourself so that you can give yourself to others later. Like it's a valiant. I think that's
Yeah. I used to think it was kind of selfish, but now I'm like, nah, like,
selfless, actually.
yeah.
Right. This
And,
is better for
you know,
everybody.
Yeah. I can be a monster. So let me sleep.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's funny.
I think there's like kind of two sides to the coin of like self-care, which I mean, I don't know if that's a controversial topic or word, but like I think it's good and it's necessary. Like you should take care of yourself, but I also think it can get to an excuse point to be like selfish, and I think you have to be in tune with like what your purpose in it is, and like is this a necessity thing, or am I just wanting to get my way and using this as a way to get my way?
Yeah.
You know?
And that like me being more comfortable with it when I was pregnant too. So it was like me being like, oh my gosh, I cannot sit here. Like my ribs are expanding. I can feel them moving. And now it's like, okay, I don't ever want to use Lainey as an excuse either, but a lot of it is like she's screaming, like this is not beneficial for anybody. I'm not getting something. I mean, like I'm not helping anyone get anything. I'm not getting anything. She's angry and hangry. So yeah, it's just trying to find that balance anymore. And so honestly, how do people have more than 3 kids? Like I don't understand. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
How people have lots of kids. It's wild. You're about to.
I don't know.
This guy over here the other day is like, I can see myself just having 12 kids. You know, he said that. He said that
I
after
really
he
think so.
just-
Like 12.
I mean, if Taylor's willing,
Just
maybe,
go crazy.
maybe. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but
I believe
Twins on twins.
your exact words were, I think that would be awesome.
is that what I
You
said?
have a
said
TV
that.
show.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
The Wanglers.
The Wangler.
The Wangler wagon.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Wagon.
Yeah, there it
That's
is.
so funny.
Wangler
My
wagon.
my uncle
Wangler Ranch.
my uncle made a music video called The Wangler Wagon one time for my mom's like 40th birthday or something, and it was a minivan. It was a Honda Odyssey minivan, and he's like sitting there like waxing it, like stylish riding. That was like the hook to it.
Gosh.
It was awesome.
Yeah, man.
My
You've got a future
My
there.
aunt rapped. It was
Oh my
like
goodness. Please share the video later.
I'll see if I can dig it up.
That'd be funny. It'd be very
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, I don't know. 12 kids is a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
I mean, not all at once. You know,
Right.
you got to space
One at a
12
time.
out.
Right.
You could adopt a few at a time.
It's true. Get the older ones old enough to help
Yeah.
care for the youngers,
There
and
you
then
go.
maybe that would work. I don't know.
Something like that.
Be wild.
I think you also said something about it being like free labor too. So
I mean,
Free help on the
to
farm.
work the farm.
that is true,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm not like in ag really.
It's true.
Not
Never
yet.
have to touch a chicken again.
Now that is a good point. I kind of like, the farm. We call it the farm. It's 4.5 acres outside of town, but I like that because I will tell you personal experience, like working on a farm taught me some of the best like character lessons I've ever learned. And so I had a farmer in high school that I worked for, and like I'm excited for the opportunity that like at least my family will have, and potentially others. I mean, I already think sometimes like I should find a high school kid to do this for me, like just so they can have the opportunity to like come out here and work and earn a little bit of money. Like, I don't know, I just have a desire to be part of that process. And so I like that it has the opportunity out there. Like when I moved out, actually, I went to the Iowa State Extension and I was like, is there a program to like rent farm buildings to 4-H kids? And they were like, no, you don't want to do that with insurance. Like it was the whole thing. And they're like, but when you have kids, then you could do that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So more of the lessons, I think that I think it gives like it's like a training ground. That's what I want to call it. It's a training ground to build character and train children into adults, boys into men,
There you go.
girls into women. Yeah.
I agree. It's good learning experience. I mean, I come out to the farm and I learn things as your full bib in your overalls working on
Oh my
That
gosh.
was the last
the
one.
pressure tank and learning what a pressure
in the
valve,
well.
pressure switch is.
I heard you got to learn how to drive a tractor.
I
Yeah,
got
he
into the
did.
tractor, and
Pop the clutch.
popped the
Awesome.
clutch. He, a quick 90-second tutorial. This is what to do. This is what not to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I only about fell off once as it kind of the clutch when you let up on
when
that
it
clutch
jerks.
a little
I
too
said
fast.
go slow.
It takes off, and
Oh, yeah.
I understood quick what you meant by that. Yeah. So if you said, hey, I need you to get from here to here, and you left me with the tractor and said, see ya, I could get there now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Very proud moment
It was
for me.
It was a good moment.
Yeah. So until you have
I was
kids,
proud
you
of
can
you
just
too.
kind of train me in the ways of the farm. The city kid, been living in Jefferson for the majority of my life. So it's good.
We're always learning, right?
We are always learning. Yeah.
Fun.
And now you're always teaching
Mm-hmm.
your own kids and other people's kids.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Wow. Good one, guys. Man.
Good one.
We're at a solid hour and a half here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just hit
this is
that.
good.
Went quick.
It did go quick. Did it feel quick?
Yeah.
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 Any burning things in your mind right now?
I could have dabbled into all of those different topics for a whole couple
segment.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each one.
100%.
Yeah. We didn't even
We didn't even
a
get to the
lot,
half of
but
it.
that's
right.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, it's been really good. Appreciate you having me on.
Favorite movie that was influential to you that just like sticks out in your mind? Like, yeah, that movie like made me think. That movie like did something in me.
Oh man,
Do you have one?
influential movie.
Influential. Not even your favorite. We'll ask that question. Favorite movie and influential movie.
Think of two movies.
Okay. I mean, oh gosh, I really do like The Help as like influential in this
Yeah.
that time era and
What
just
lesson did
yeah.
that teach you? What did you glean from it?
I mean that no one is lesser than anyone else based on race or skin, skin color or gender.
Sure.
So, I mean, they have their roles. Like, I think there are some gender roles typically, but yeah, that one was most influential. Favorite movie. Oh gosh, I say I like sports movies a lot. Like I love Remember the Titans. I love The Sandlot. I love So movies like that. I really love Leonardo DiCaprio. So anything like he's in.
Even like The Revenant.
Yeah,
Movies like that.
I love that bear
that was a
attack.
good
Really?
Yeah, it was good.
Titanic.
Yes, I watched that when I was like 6 when it came out. yeah. So, yep.
It's good.
Yep.
Leo. It's a good dude.
Would you call
Good
him your
actor.
celebrity crush?
No.
No. Okay.
No,
Just
he's
a favorite
little
actor.
wild. I don't think I have a celebrity crush.
Probably not.
No.
It happens.
No.
If I do, it's on like Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, honestly.
I did love George Clooney as like a child. Like,
Oh, yes.
And he hasn't changed. So he doesn't look any different. Right?
He's done well
Yeah.
on that.
But it's hard. It's like those guys are older than my dad. So
Mhm.
it's like,
Crazy.
nah.
Right.
Yeah,
Not-
Brad Pitt's
not
older than
okay.
my father.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Brad Pitt's like
56,
57.
57?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So
It's up
my
there.
dad too.
dude drinks a lot of water. He looks really good. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know.
Mm.
Like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. In his
Hugh
50s
Jackman.
as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I suppose they were all around in the 90s, and
They
it's
were.
30 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Isn't that wild?
It is wild.
Yeah. Heck of a career.
When did we all grow up? Yeah.
Day by day.
Pretty wild.
What about books? Do you like to read?
I read a lot more like in high school. I think just because I've been in college forever that I don't love reading because I've had to do so much of it for classwork. But I did like reading Pride and Prejudice. It's also a good movie.
Yeah.
I know it's a popular one around here on your podcast, but yeah, we'll go with that one for now.
Is Parks and Rec better than The Office?
No.
Wow, that was firm.
Megan has spoken. Now,
No.
Lyndsey might take the opposite stance.
I think they both have their place. You have to be in the mood for both of them. But I could also just throw them both on and it would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I love them both. To preface, I have seen both of them probably
A lot of times.
probably 20
A lot
times.
of times.
Right.
So I love them both. But
Parks and Rec has too many obnoxious, like loud characters. Like Amy Poehler,
Okay.
loud. Like they're just kind of loud. Like
Tom Haverford,
loud.
loud.
Yeah. Right?
Chris Traeger, loud.
Yeah. So I do like them, but The Office is my favorite show. So
Right.
yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
The Office over Parks and Rec, or do you?
No. No.
Parks and Rec
Yeah,
over.
I would choose
It's
Parks
because
and
Nick
Rec.
Swanson.
Ron
Ron
Swanson.
Nick
Swanson.
I got
Nick
it's
Traeger.
Nick Traeger. Yeah.
Chris Traeger.
Chris Traeger.
Chris Traeger.
Nick, who's Nick?
No,
who's
it's his
Nick?
name in
Nick
real life.
Offerman.
Oh, Nick
That's his
Offerman.
name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
how we got Nick
Yeah.
Right.
Swanson.
There it is. Nick Swanson.
The blend. Yeah.
Sorry.
You're
No, it's
right.
fine.
That's his name in
Right.
real life
His
and
name
his
is
last
Nick
name in the
Blendon. Right, got
show.
it.
Just blend them together.
I feel like he's your guy in that show.
I can relate
He's the
on
guy.
some levels. to
Isaac
Ron
and I were
Swanson.
talking
yeah.
about this upstairs.
Yeah.
He and Tyler are like the
Yep.
most Ron Swanson-y dudes out of our little friend group.
Yeah, I just like
I don't know,
it.
Andy hates the
Outdoors
government,
and the
so-
meat and
The three of you together make Ron Swanson.
It's really funny.
yeah, maybe.
It's really funny.
But he's
Man.
not like healthy. I mean, not seemingly in the show. I mean,
Just eats
just
steak.
eats a lot of meat and paunch burger.
Right,
and
right. That one time he has to eat a banana and he smushes it onto
That
the
was
paunch
hilarious.
burger. And he still gags.
He's like, throws it out. It's funny. That's a good show.
Wild times.
Yeah.
Man.
There's just a range. I don't know. I like the range of characters better on Parks and Rec than The
Yeah.
Office.
That's
Yes,
true.
the range is greater for sure.
Like, I think, I don't know. I was going to make a pretty bold claim and say that they have like larger personalities on Parks and Rec than they do on The Office. And I kind of like that. I feel like The Office is more subdued in some ways.
I kind of like that though. That like dry, like I'm gonna
Right.
be, like serious face and be a like Angela.
Or Dwight.
So
Right.
funny.
It's subtle and more believable. Like it's more real. More real
I was
life.
gonna say that's probably more like an actual office
Yeah.
environment.
Right.
If you're going and working in a paper office, it's probably what it's actually like.
Minus some
Yeah.
extreme Michael Scott
Right.
shenanigans that are totally
Dwight.
outlandish.
Right.
No one in their right mind just got to be. There's no real life Michael Scott, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there
know,
definitely
there probably
is
is somewhere.
Somewhere.
Just seems like, yeah, it's too wild. Scott's tots ruined me, is what it did.
I can't even watch that episode.
Oh, I hate that episode.
Tough
That's
skip.
so bad.
So bad.
Anyway, I'm glad we can all relate on The Office. It's a good debate to have.
It's a
Man.
good show.
Thanks, Megan.
Hey, thank you.
It's
Thanks
awesome.
for coming on. Thanks
great.
for dropping the bombs. Yeah.
Speaking truth.
Love
And
it.
your health journey and the food tips and all that. Gonna be a good episode. Number 11. Pumped. Couldn't have been better. Please come back.
Yeah.
Just on a regular basis.
Think
Just
so?
like, oh yeah.
I want to hear more stories about Andy.
Yeah. See if we can get him on one time
One time.
at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do.
Cool.
Awesome.
Episode 11.
Ben Unfiltered.
Isaac, Philip, Lyndsey.
Megan.
Adios.
Signing off. Bye-bye.